Hi, I'm Cathyn Fitzgerald, Knight and Count. I've been fighting for 38 years and I have some ideas about training that I'd like to share with you. A lot of what I know, a lot of what all of us know, is built on the shoulders of giants. I am as good as I am, which isn't great, because of the work that was done with me by other great fighters, great knights. I'd specifically like to begin by crediting both Duke Sean, currently Crown Prince of Artemisia, and Duke Radnor, who I believe is an 8-time King of the West, for taking an interest in my fighting and helping me to be a better fighter, and giving me a lot of tools, which I'm going to talk about today. First thing, this is very specifically a conversation about training against your pell. This is going to be one of your best friends when you're on your path to becoming a better fighter. First thing, I'd like you to remember that Pellwork is no substitute for helmet time. Every chance you have to put on your helmet and get hit by other people and swing at them at the same time is better than all the time you can spend in front of your pell. On the other hand, your pell is a really great place to painlessly test the mechanics of a particular technique you're working on, something you've been shown. You want to really try to ingrain how a perfect wrap is thrown. Your pell is a really great place to do that, with the caveat that your pell can't talk back to you, can't hit you when you do something stupid, and really can't watch you and coach you. So one of the first most important things that you're going to want to do with your pell work is, I've heard other, it's not as common out here in the West, but a lot of other kingdoms have a type of fighter practice called pell sessions, where 2 or 3 or 4 fighters will get together and one fighter at a time will do the drill or their work, whatever they're going to do against the pelt, and they will have observers watching their technique. If they are really wildly off balance, if they're doing something that wouldn't really work in a sword fight, their observers point it out. Or if they're, moving their hands and leaving huge openings. If you're going to stand in front of your pelt all by yourself, there's a tendency to, if you're in good guard, if you throw a shot and you pull your shield out of the way, if nobody tells you, don't pull your shield out of the way, you might really practice that. And then when it's important, you're going to see a shot, you're going to line up and you're going to go like this, and your guy's going to block it and swat you right in the side of the head because you patterned into your own muscle movements, moving your shield out of the way. And that's the sort of things that pell work is really bad for if you do it without an observer. Another thing to consider, pell work is always better if you can do it in your full kit, in your armor, and holding your shield, for 2 reasons. First, your armor weighs you down. It slows down the things you can do. Some people have slightly restrictive breastplates and such, and they can't really do these wild movements. So it's great to have your armor on while you're fighting, so that your pell work is as accurate to what you're going to be doing on the field. So wearing your armor while you're doing your pell work is beneficial because you get the feel for how your body moves in your kit, and you are unintentionally, unknowingly restricted by the things your armor does to you. You know that when you're on the field, you're going to be restricted by your armor. End of conversation. Whatever you're wearing will slow your shots down. They will change the way your body mechanics work. And so do your pell training in your kit. It's a pain. It's really, crappy to have to get up and put on all of your stuff and then go fight your pell. Not really fun, not really cool. Another really important, and I stepped off camera there, useful thing is you always, if possible, want to do your pell work with your shield. You want to have your shield in your hand for the simple reason that your shield should weigh something. Your shield's pretty significant weight, and the longer you stand with your arm up, holding your shield in position, the stronger your shield arm is going to end up. So it's going to help you, it's added benefits, unplanned for benefits for your pell work. If you're constantly holding your shield, you get a really good idea where your opponent is as you're throwing your shots. So, and you get the idea in your head what you can see of your target around your shield when you're blinding yourself, all that sort of stuff. So if you possibly can, full kit when you're doing your pell work. For today, I'm not wearing any of that because I want you to be able to see how I'm moving and the things I'm trying to demonstrate. A note about my pell. My pell is a little bit taller than me. I'm 6'1", I weigh about 260, and if you're my size, I can teach you everything you need to know about fighting. If you're outside there, I can teach you everything you need to know about killing me. My pell's about my height. I throw a lot of offside Molinet kind of shots, and so I built my pell with a set of hips and legs, and I really bluntly, this pell is my size, right? This is my hips and my knee when I'm in stance, and I have a little line drawn here to indicate right where the legal target stops. So if you're going to practice your little offside leg shot, you don't want to be hitting on the guy's knee. Not a fair blow. It's kind of a, you know, it's bad technique. You don't want to get into it. So throw a good leg shot. Another note about this particular pell, I don't like doing pell work for strength. I'm kind of a beast. I'm really big. I can throw. I've never had anybody call my shots light. So I don't build my pells to practice power. I build my pells to practice accuracy. You'll notice right here is my eye line. You know, that's within a half an inch or so of where my eyes are. I've got a little line here on each of the knee joints. That's where, you know, that constitutes a legal target area, and you know, that is a really good face shot. You crack the guy right across the eyes, he's a corpse. The reason I do this is I don't really practice pell work at full speed. I'm never going to throw, you know, a 10-shot combination that comes through in about 2 seconds. What I am going to do is I want to practice the flat snap. And the flat snap starts, if anybody tells you your flat snap doesn't start here in your back foot, in your connection to the earth, they're teaching you the flat snap wrong. 1, 2. All I'm doing here is moving the shot very slowly, and I was going too fast. You should really plan on, when you're practicing your accuracy, you're building muscle memory in the gun to hit a very small, very specific target. Also, you'll notice this is my pell stick. I've got marks at the sweet spots on the stick. I'll talk about how to find those later. But we've got the pell, so you want to know, you want to throw your descending Molinet, you've got a place for it to land. If you just had a flat stick here, it kind of sucks. So I built a set of hips, I built a set of thighs to practice leg shots. Notice it's wibbling a little bit. When I hit it, it jiggles around. It's put together with wood screws, it's 2x4s, it's not great construction. If I really gave this thing a Crown Tourney Finals caliber fight, I would break it to splinters pretty quickly. It's that way on purpose because I am not practicing power. I am not practicing speed. I am practicing perfect, accurate delivery. You'll notice the sweet spot, landing right on the target that I wanted to hit correctly and slowly. That's how all of your practice should be. You know, if you have another tougher pell wrapped in carpet and all that so that you don't smash your stick apart, good for you, great. I don't feel the need to practice that way against my pell. That's what my opponents are for, and they're going to be trying to do the same thing to me, so we're really good there. So that's pell setup. I'm going to give it a little bit of a turn. Pretend I'm fighting a right-handed fighter who's fighting right leg lead, which I like a lot. There's our pell. I've seen some other pell videos that honestly were the impetus for me to make this one. Because I saw a pell video and the fighter who was in it was looking at his pell, and he was standing there with his feet together, his knees were he had his knees kind of locked, he had his hand pretty much, he might as well have been in his pocket, and he went, and that was his drill. He was teaching the 1 to 6 drill, which we'll go into in a second, and so he was throwing all flat snaps and overhands. No variation, no movement. The first thing to think about when you're doing, so let's go to the 1 to 6 drill. Duke Radnor came up with two very important drills for us. One of them is the 1 to 6 drill, where you number your pell, and I have these written on here in Sharpie so I know where the targets are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I've been coached that maybe I should put a 7 on the back for my wrap. I just consider a wrap to be an ordinary shot. I don't want to have it be a special targeting thing. So you've got your 1 to 6, and the 1 to 6 drill is a countdown drill where you start by firing, you know, I think I did the math, and it's 86 shots. So if you're doing a century drill, a 1 to 6 drill will not get you all the way through a century. You'll do your 1 to 6, and then you'll still owe your pell 14 more shots. So 1 to 6 drill kind of looks like this. We'll go through just the first round of it really fast. 1, and that was a crappy shot, so I would say 1. I would fire it whenever I mess up, whenever I don't think I've done my technique correctly, I rethrow the shot and I don't count it. So 1, 1. Now I'm doing, this isn't really where I want to get to, but I'm illustrating. So 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, and so on. You're just hitting, you're doing a countdown, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6. That gets you about 86 shots. This is a really good drill because it sets you up with ideas like 1, 1 is kind of cool. 4, 4 isn't that great. 5, 6, if you can pull it off, flips your opponent right out the window. It's really kind of cool, but it's still, you might as well just throw in the 1 leg shot, but tattoo both the guy's legs, or if you can get the inside and the outside of the same leg, your opponent's going to be like, oh man, am I in a sword fight? This is so bad for me. To get to how I like to train, on the pell in particular, I like to do the century drill. Century drill is another tool that Radnor gave us, and it is the process of throwing 100 shots per day, 100 high quality, well delivered, accurate shots per day at your pell for 100 straight days. And it is his theory, and I've seen it proven out, that if at the end of your century drill, you are going to be so much a better fighter because you have spent 10,000 shots improving what you do. Radnor likes to also say that worry about your accuracy and your technique, and speed will find you. If you can do this, you know, nice flat snap, nice flat snap, nice flat snap, 10,000 times, when the actual tournament is happening, your flat snap. Whenever your opponent gives you a little whoop, tiny little hole in his defense, your arm's going to fire the flat snap without even you having to tell it to happen. It's just going to be a reaction. The gun's going to go off. He's going to be hit with this brilliantly targeted flat snap that your conscious mind had nothing to do with, because you did a whole bunch of conscious mind work in your garage with your pell and your sack lunch and your can of beer, and your arm will kill the guy without you even willing it to happen at that moment, because you put a whole bunch of will into those 100 days you threw those flat snaps. So to complete a century drill, what I like to do is, instead of using the 1 to 6 drill as a 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, I do 3 shots at a time. So 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. This gets you around 244 shots, which well exceeds your century. So if you could throw, you know, 244 shots a day for 100 days, you probably got something going on. And if I was a little bit more consistent in my training and a little bit better disciplined, I'd probably have a lot more going on. So that leads me, now that I've talked about going from the 1 to 6 drill to the 1 to Cathyn's variation. Now the Harley Davidson going by, love the sound of those. My variation on the 1 to 6 drill is 3-shot combinations instead of 2-shot combinations. It gives you 244-ish shots. Having discussed that, the next thing is, don't stand flat-footed in front of your pell, because if you stand flat-footed in front of me, you're dead as yesterday's trout. If you do it to somebody great like Radnor or Sean or Uther or or Duke Jade perhaps, any of those, Duke Blue Can, they're gonna light you up like a Christmas tree. So standing still in front of your opponent, really stupid. You wanna work on, at the edge of the camera, you wanna work on your ranging, you wanna contemplate where your opponent is, and you wanna have that in your mind that you should be thinking about throwing good killing blows from wherever his head is. If I can only throw a killing blow when your head is right here in front of me, if you take a step to the side, I'm dead. You know, my brain is gonna have to reset, figure out targeting again, I'm dead. Also, if all you throw is the same shot over and over and over again, your opponent, every time you move, every time the gun starts to go off, your elbow drops a little bit, you're gonna fire the shot, your opponent's gonna go flat snap, block the side of his head, pow, you're gonna crack his shield and he's gonna knock your block off. You wanna become unpredictable, you want to practice movement at the same time. So when I throw, like for me, I'm gonna throw 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. And that was really crappy technique. You'll notice I'm way off balance and I'm doing all this stupid looking stuff, but I'm moving. Because a lot of times in a fight, if you're in contact with your opponent, he might have his shield against you, and next thing you know, you're kinda, can you still kill him? Hope so. You'll either kill him or you'll be saluting him on your way to the ground. So get good at practicing really good technique, really good base, really good foundation. But also, if you find yourself off balance and it's time to throw a 4, throw a 4 and make it land. And then think about what stupid thing you did to get yourself off balance and falling so that your only option was to unload something dumb. Make sure the dumb thing is thrown with good technique and then try to never get there again. Figure out what you did wrong. That's where your observers come in handy. You know, Cathyn, why in the hell were you, doing something goofy like that when your 2 could have just been a really nice step away snap? Think about that. Move around your pell with purpose. Don't just move around because I told you to, because what do I know? And you will just, another thing, constantly be thinking. The best part about going slow, the best part about having all your shots be moving slow is I can look where my sweet spot indicator is. I can look right where my target is. I can pretend my opponent sees my shield, and so instead of throwing my hand lower than my tip, which is easier to block by the corner of his shield, I just pretend, oh hey, push the shield up. And instead of throwing that, I throw that. The sweet spot still landed on 1, but he got hit instead of clattering into a shield. Play games with your mind, with yourself, with your mind, while you're doing these techniques. You're gonna get tired. The better part of going slow is, I'm a little winded now because I'm kind of moving quick. If you're going slow, you're not going to be as winded. This isn't an aerobic exercise. This is you're practicing good technique, good shot selection, and mental imagery. So I don't know when I'm throwing, 1, 1, 1. That was way too hard. That's a sweet spot shot. Landed on the inside instead of the outside. Super powerful from here. I hit it too hard, but I don't plan that when I go in. I start moving around and I throw my flat snap. I like to open with a flat snap, it's a basic shot, but change it up. Open with a wrap, turn it into a flat snap, and now what's your next 1 gonna be? Think, stop if you have to. You've thrown, you're doing 1, 1, 1, and you're gonna transition to 1, 1, 2. So you're throwing 5 headshots to this side of the head all in a row. But if you get to a spot, you've fired a wrap, you turn it into an overhand, how are you going to get with this hand and this stick position, how are you going to get, where are you going to move, what are you going to do to get another 1, another valid, well-delivered 1? I don't necessarily think it's unfair for you to think, time to step away, feint a 2, throw another 1. Play the game with yourself. figure out, because you're practicing the sword fight in a very random, fluid environment where your opponent's trying to kill you. So take the time now, because you can. You know, Duke Uther is about to flat snap you into next Tuesday because you're here and he's blocked it, and you're in good position, but he's 6'5" or 6'7", has reach and strength on you, and he's probably going to give you a really good shot because you're out of position. How do you survive to do something horrible to Uther and still hit him in one? Maybe you recover your sword and throw something. Maybe you recover your sword and thrust him in the face as his sword swishes past your nose. Practice it, think it through, because in your garage, when you're fighting your pell here, Duke Uther's not hitting you. And if you do this well enough, and you practice hard enough, maybe Duke Uther's not hitting you. Maybe you're hitting him. Could be your day. Practice a lot, because Uther is really, really good. Go watch some other videos of him right here on YouTube. He's a genius. One of the best fighters I've ever had the pleasure to fight. I didn't win very many of them. So we've gone through 1 to 6, we've gone through my variations, we've talked about Radnor's Century Drill, and we've talked about best practices. One last point I want to cover with your pell work. I missed this in pell setup, but here it is for you. When I first learned the 1 to 6 drill, I thought that was awesome. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And I was talking to Radnor about it, and I showed him what I was doing, and I said, okay, so I'm going to throw 1, 1. And he said, what on earth are you doing? Radnor is very kind. You could be making the dumbest mistake in the world around him, and he will kindly, politely ask you what you're doing, try to figure it out, and then gently correct you. He's awesome at this, right? So I fire a 1-1 combination, and he said, why are you making the first thing you throw, your very first shot at your opponent, why are you not trying to kill him with that? And I went, ooh, ooh. 1-time winner, 8-time winner. He's probably onto something. So I went home, I took out my Sharpie, and I had another pell. It was my previous version of this. And I scratched through the 3, and I scratched through the 4, and I scratched through the 5, and the 2, and the 6, and the 1. And I went 1, on side of the head. 2, off side of the head. 3, shield side hip. 4, sword side hip. And then did the legs 5 and 6. Because really, you want to start your practice with, you know, okay, we're going to do my variation of the 1 to 6 drill. So you've got 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, and so on. The first 8 shots of that or so, the first 5 in a row are onside head, and the next one is offside head. Throw a lot of head shots, kill a lot of opponents. Throw a lot of leg shots and, well, leg a lot of opponents, and then have a longer, more drawn-out fight than you may necessarily have needed. And you might get really super unlucky, draw Count Michael Longbow in the finals of Crown, leg the guy, and then have him turtle up like a demon, rope-a-dope you into complete exhaustion, and then flat snap you in the eyes, and he's the king of 8 belt and you're not. And that was the first time I finaled an 8 belt crown, when I was 18 years old, a long time ago. Thanks for watching. Tune back in. I'm probably going to have some other videos. And watch a lot of Radnor. Watch a lot of Duke Shawn. Duke Shawn fights everybody. He's great. Watch all of his fighting. Cheers.